नमस्कार, बजट से जुड़ी इस खास श्रृंखला में आपका स्वागत है। मैं हूं कृति और मेरे साथ है मेरी सहयोगी टीना। बजट में इस बार टैक्स को लेकर काफी उत्सुकता है और ये लाजमी भी है। एक तरफ सरकार को जहां जरूरत है ज्यादा पूंजी की, वहीं दूसरी तरफ आम आदमी चाहता है कि उसके पास खर्च करने के लिए ज्यादा पैसे आए। दूसरा समीकरण ये भी कहता है कि सरकार आम आदमी के हाथ ज्यादा पैसा दे जिससे मांग बढ़े और अर्थव्यवस्था में तेजी आए। लेकिन समस्या ये भी है कि सरकार को ज्यादा खर्च करना है तो उसे राजस्व भी ज्यादा चाहिए होगा। कुल मिलाकर कहें तो टैक्स का मामला वित्त मंत्री निर्मला सीतारमण के लिए काफी पेचीदा रहने वाला है। टीना, काफी उम्मीदें हैं इस बार बजट से?
Absolutely, Kriti. So expectations sky high after a very, very challenging year. So the union budget, which is to be presented on Monday, is of course now going to be one of the most important and anticipated one. Reeling from an economic slowdown due to, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic, all eyes are now on the upcoming budget in the hope of some much wanted reliefs and incentives from the finance minister. So in Budget of Hope today, let's look at some crucial expectations that the taxpayers have from the upcoming budget. Let's first look at this report. According to the Economic Survey for 2020-21, India's real gross domestic product is expected to grow by 11% in 2021-22 on the back of nationwide vaccine drive to prevent the coronavirus outbreak. While the economy could contract 7.7% in the current financial year, the V-shaped recovery is being attributed to the government strategy of COVID management that focused on protection of life and providing relief to people during the lockdown. But the COVID management has come at a huge price. During April to December 2020, the government spent 22,80,147 crore rupees, while its total revenue was 11,21,678 crore rupees. But the year also saw a considerable improvement in tax revenue. In April, only 67,557 crore rupees revenue was earned through tax. The situation improved in the month of June when the tax collection went up to 1,43,000 rupees. However, it contracted in the following months. While the revenue from tax in September was 2,16,000 crore rupees, the December collection stood at 3,12,000 crore rupees. However, the revenue from tax between April to December is 45,000 crore rupees lesser as compared to the same period in 2019-20. With easing of lockdown restrictions, the GST collection also witnessed a gradual but significant increase. The government collected a record high goods and services tax levy at 1.15 lakh crore rupees in December. This is the highest since the indirect tax system was introduced in 2017. The collection in April 2020 plunged 72% at 32,172 crore rupees compared to the same month last year. In its endeavour to bring tax reforms, the government in 2019 slashed corporate tax rate for domestic companies to 22% from 30% and 15% for new manufacturing companies. Several steps have also been taken to provide income tax relief to individual taxpayers. Zero tax liability for individuals with income in the tax bracket of less than 2.5 lakh rupees. Up to 5% tax for income falling into the tax bracket of 2.5 to 5 lakh rupees based on their specific age groups. 20% tax for income in the tax bracket of 5 to 10 lakh rupees. And no tax on income up to 3 lakh rupees for senior citizens aged between 60 to 80 years. And surcharge is levied on top of applicable income tax rate from 10% to 25% for those with taxable incomes between 50 lakh rupees and 5 crore rupees and 37% for those earning more than 5 crore rupees. Experts are of the opinion that the finance minister should reduce the burden of surcharge on higher income groups, encouraging them to invest in industries and increase employment. They believe that to soften the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the economy, the government needs to put more money in the hands of the common man in order to boost consumption and production. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. So to talk about the expectations that the taxpayers have from the upcoming budget, we are joined by a distinguished set of panelists on the program. Let me introduce them to you. We have with us Mr. Himanshu Parekh, Partner and Head, Corporate and International Tax, KPMG. Tarun Ghia, Chairman, Direct Tax Committee, ICAI. Sunil Garg, Tax Expert, and also Mr. Kapil Mittal, Tax Expert. Welcome, gentlemen, on this special broadcast on Rajya Sabha TV. Mr. Sunil Garg, let me begin the program today with you. So, the union budget now is going to come after 10 months of hardship, and therefore the expectations, of course, are huge from different sectors. If we talk about from the perspective of the common taxpayer, what according to you is on the wish list of the common middle class taxpayer this time from the upcoming budget?
As Tina, you rightly said, this budget is going to be a revolutionary and visionary budget. As you know, this pandemic has changed all the scenarios, all the normal functioning areas. As you know, our Honorable Prime Minister also said that this is the time to create an opportunity out of the crisis. And what I feel, in your report, you have also mentioned the fact that the government might be thinking that let us put more money in the hands of the middle class families, and so that they can spend. Once they spend, the manufacturing cycle will also increase, and more leading to the more tax collection. And one example was when they allowed the LTC also. Ki we are giving you LTC, don't go, you cannot move, you cannot travel, but spend 3 times of that LTC amount, and you will be getting that deduction. But the condition was you have to spend on those items which at least be as 12% of the GST rate. Meaning that somewhere government is thinking that we cannot now restrict to the Fiscal Responsibility Management Act of 3.5%. Of course, we are going to lose that criteria, and maybe more borrowing is needed. But if we want to put money into the hands of the consumer, if we can, so of course you have to reduce the rate of the taxes, you have to give more money to the consumers, and to small taxpayers, small companies, closely held companies. There are so many discriminatory provisions in the Income Tax Act where the listed companies or big companies and small companies, they have a discrimination. For example, last time when government brought the tax rate of the corporate from 30% to 22%, see what happened. For those companies, earlier it was 25% up to 400 crore of turnover. And when we are calculating this tax rate now, no much difference has come to in the hands of the smaller tax companies, because earlier it was 26%, now it is 25%. But for the bigger companies, there is a rebate of 8 to 9% in the tax rate. Now this budget, I think, is going to have more focus on the larger tax base, middle class families, closely held companies, and we have certainly to remove some restrictions which are on the closely held companies, either in the listed, in the capital gain area, or carry forward of losses, or for the middle class, put money in their hands. Motivate them to have savings, motivate them to have more expenditure. This might be the out-of-box idea, and might be our Honorable Finance Minister be thinking on that line.
Certainly, Kriti. So the focus is going to be on the larger tax base.
Absolutely, Tina. But then when we're talking about spurring consumption or spurring demand, Mr. Parekh, there are concerns about fiscal headroom as well. Now, the gross tax revenue of the government between April and November in 2020 declined by 12.6% to 10.26 lakh crore rupees, of course, because of COVID-19 pandemic. How will the government raise resources without hiking tax rates?
So there are 2 or 3 things that the government can think about in terms of augmentation of revenue. A lot is being said about a potential COVID cess, which may be introduced in this budget. My suggestion to the finance minister would be that should she decide to introduce such a COVID cess, it should be mandated that it will be a one-time cess applicable only for 1 year and no more beyond that. The other avenue for the government to raise resources is going to be the disinvestment program. As we know, there were high expectations of augmentation of revenue for the current year from disinvestments by the government, but we've hardly made any revenues during this year owing to the pandemic. So hopefully in the next year, we'll give a boost to the disinvestment program and ensure that we are able to collect much better revenues on account thereof. And lastly, I would say the general recovery of the economy, because of the vaccination, etc., the economic recovery upswing itself will enable the government to collect higher revenues for the next year.
ठीक है, आपने कोविड सेस की बात कही. तरुण जी से जानना चाहूंगी. तरुण जी, कई लोग ये भी कह रहे हैं कि आर्थिक सर्वेक्षण या इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में ये हिंट भी किया गया है कि कोविड सेस आ सकता है HNIs के लिए, जो बड़ी इनकम ब्रैकेट है उसके लिए। आपका क्या मानना है?
देखिए, कोविड टैक्स is one of the options only. We believe that government is fully aware that government will not discourage the corporates, including the HNIs. In fact, when the finance minister came to our institute, we had a lot of discussion. We found her very receptive. We believe, first of all, Vivad Se Vishwas scheme is going to be expanded, as we believe that she accepted our view, and that will increase the inflow of the funds in the hands of the government. Secondly, we believe that government will be stressing a lot on the infra push in this budget, because it is a known theory propagated by the Keynes in the modern economy, that when the government spends on infrastructure, it gives an accelerating effect, that employments will be generated and capital formation will happen. Thirdly, we believe that there will be a lot of incentives for the real estate sector, because all said and done, the real estate housing shortage in India is very high, and there is ample scope to encourage the real estate industry. And we also believe that because of the large inflow of the FDI, today it is seen in the stock market, but tomorrow it is likely to be seen in the real estate sector, so that multinational companies will start coming to India, because India is offering very large scope for manufacturing and the kind of the decisiveness this government has shown. And lastly, we believe that in this budget, the government will simplify the tax administration. The Prime Minister has already mooted and floated the faceless assessment scheme, which is certainly a boon to the to eradication and avoidance of the corruption. We believe that there are many rationalization of the taxation system, in which the citizen will be able to operate freely. On the COVID tax, I would believe that government will find out some way rather than taxing the rich, because today rich has been started taxing so much by way of surcharge, etc. And therefore, if any additional burden, then probably it may lead to discouragement.
Okay. Coming to you, Mr. Kapil Mittal, the emerging view in the discussions ahead of the union budget has been in favor of reducing the tax burden in order to push more demand by ensuring more disposable income. Do you also hold the view? Is that the best way forward for the government?
Yes, I think this is the only way through which government can increase the demand. They have to provide some kind of more earning in the hands of the individual. Like they can increase their ATC deduction, in which individual are claiming LIC benefits, their home loan principal benefits. So government can plan to increase those deductions so that an individual have a more income in their hands, so that consumption will increase, and accordingly manufacturing sector and everyone will get the benefit from that. For example, to increase that income of in individual hand, government can increase ATC. Government can also plan to give an additional benefit respect to medical treatment. Like currently it is 25,000, 40,000, that can be increased. For salary class, they can also increase that standard threshold limit, which is currently only 50,000. That can be increased up to 1 lakh also. Apart from that, government also need to focus that the rates of goods and services should not increase. They have to plan in such a way that an individual will get a more income in their hand. Corporates will get more opportunities to invest in India, so that whatever opportunities and new jobs can be created from that investment, that will help individual itself, whoever has lost their jobs in this noble pandemic, they can get a better jobs and get a better earning opportunities. Government can also think with respect to IT sector. There are many employees who are working from home, and they have to spend some more amount from their own pocket to arrange some infrastructure at their home. Government can also plan kind of a deduction, a specific deduction with respect to work from home. So these kind of steps will help an individual to increase their earning, and so that they can spend more, and the cycle of that inflation and cycle with respect to consumption, investment, manufacturing can be again boost up. In the lastly, I would like to add, in the last quarter, if we see in October to December, everything is gaining, there is a V shape which is showing that Indian economy is recovering very fast. But to boost that, it is absolutely required from the FM ma'am that she will introduce such kind of a measure which will help economy and an individual so that they can get more opportunities to earn, invest and save money so that everything can be boost up.
ठीक है मित्तल जी, आपने बात कही वर्क फ्रॉम होम की। सुनील गर्ग जी, आपसे जानना चाहूंगी, वर्क फ्रॉम होम जो ये नए नॉर्मल में, न्यू नॉर्मल की हम बात करते हैं, उसमें जो एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं उनको रेंट, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, इंटरनेट, इसका खर्चा और ज़्यादा होगा। तो टैक्सेशन की अगर हम बात करें तो वर्क फ्रॉम होम में किस तरह की रियायतें मिल सकती हैं?
देखिए कृति, लास्ट टाइम जब मैडम फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर एक नया स्लैब, नया रिजीम लेके आई थी, तो मैं आपके साथ एक शो में था, तब भी हमने कहा था कि सबसे ज़्यादा जो ठगा हुआ महसूस कर रहा है वो सैलरीड एम्प्लॉय महसूस कर रहा है। इस बार आपने सारी डिडक्शन खत्म कर दी, सारी एग्जेम्पशन खत्म कर दी। इवन जो स्टैंडर्ड डिडक्शन आपको मिलती है 50,000 रुपये की, वो भी आपको नहीं मिलती। आपको जो पीएफ में जो आपकी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स है उसकी भी आपको छूट नहीं मिलती है, आपको कोई अलाउंस नहीं मिलेगा। अपना न्यू कंसेप्ट इज़ वर्क फ्रॉम होम अलाउंस। तो हमारी डिमांड ये है कि जो एम्प्लॉयज़ वर्क फ्रॉम होम कर रहे हैं उनको अगर कंपनियां कुछ अलाउंस देती हैं, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली कंपनियों का खर्चा भी तो कम हो रहा है ना, उनका रेंटल स्पेस कम हो रहा है, उनका इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का खर्चा नहीं है, उनके बहुत सारे जो डेली अलाउंस आप देते हैं वो नहीं है, इवन वो कैंटीन में खाना भी नहीं खा रहे हैं। तो एक ये आइडिया है कि एक वर्क फ्रॉम होम अलाउंस अगर कंपनी दें तो उसका आप उनको छूट दे दीजिए। अगेन मैं कहता हूँ कि सरकार ये कर सकती है कि वर्क फ्रॉम होम अलाउंस के को आपको छूट दे दिया और आप उसको खर्च कर दीजिए तो हम आपको छूट दे देंगे, लेकिन फिर आपको टिकरिंग करनी है न्यू टैक्स रिजीम में। जो नया टैक्स रिजीम में जाना है या मुझे ओल्ड टैक्स रिजीम में जाना है, तो मैं तो बल्कि मैडम से एक रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि आप दोनों स्लैब में टिकरिंग कर दीजिए। अभी क्या हो रहा है कि मान लीजिए मैं नए टैक्स रिजीम में जाना चाहता हूँ ओल्ड रिजीम से, अगर मैं ओल्ड रिजीम में कुछ 2 लाख रुपए की छूट क्लेम कर रहा था या 2.25 लाख रुपए की, और मेरी 15 लाख की इनकम भी है, तो मैं एट पार आ जाता हूँ। जबकि मैं एज पर द प्रोविजन 4.5 लाख तक इंक्लूडिंग द होम लोन का 2 लाख की छूट मैं क्लेम कर लूँ तो 4.5 लाख तक की मैं छूट क्लेम कर लेता था। सेकेंडली जो छोटा एम्प्लॉई है जो 5 लाख से कम वाला है उसको फिर वही दिक्कत है कि 87 की आपने छूट खत्म कर दी है। कहने का मतलब है जब हम एक रिजीम की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं, आपने कहा कि टैक्स रिजीम नया जिसमें कोई छूट नहीं, फिर वर्क फ्रॉम होम अलाउंस की कहाँ पर वो सेटिंग है या कहाँ पर आपको करना है। तो मुझे लगता है कहीं ना कहीं एक इस बजट में मैडम फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर एक बैलेंसिंग एक्ट जरूर करेंगी जहाँ ओल्ड रिजीम और नए रिजीम में ऐसा ना लगे, और खासकर एम्प्लॉयज़ के लिए मैं कह रहा हूँ या जो मिडिल क्लास टैक्स पेयर है कि वो हमेशा ये सोचता रहता है कि मैं कहाँ जाऊँ या कहाँ ना जाऊँ, और उसको लगे कि नहीं मैं अगर नया टैक्स रिजीम में जाना चाहता हूँ तो मुझको साथ में कुछ बेनिफिट्स एटलीस्ट स्टैंडर्ड डिडक्शन के या एटीसी वाले या जैसे आपने वर्क फ्रॉम अलाउंस का या कुछ जो बेसिक छूटें हैं वो मुझे जरूर मिलती रहे। ऐसा मुझे लगता है कि इस बार मैडम कुछ करने वाली हैं।
Tarun ji, so what Mr. Garg says is that the new tax regime did not pick up the way it was anticipated. Now, with the upcoming budget, can the government consider some sort of exemptions as Mr. Garg is expecting as well?
I think I would fully agree with what Sunil ji said. In fact, it is becoming a double exercise to find out the tax effect of both the alternatives, and it is not giving really much a benefit to the SSC.
Yes.
What is needed is that if government wants to give, government should give without much riders. And this alternative method has been given, withdrawing all the exemptions, deductions, and that is not really feasible. Secondly, it has been allowed only to the salaried persons to change from year to year. Change from year to year is not being allowed to the businessmen where it is more needed, because businessmen's conditions go on changing from year to year basis, whereas salaried persons' positions are more or less consistent. Thirdly, as I also would agree that government is fully seized of the new culture of work from home, and I would believe that whatever allowances are given on reasonable basis, government will allow the expenses in the hands of the employee on self-declaration basis. So in short, the allowances given by the company will not be taxed probably in the hands of the employee, and those allowances will be the rightful expenditure in the hands of the company. Because even after such allowances, the company's expenditure is going to be sizably low, because working from company's office has many much higher expenses, whereas working from home will give much reduced expenses, and that is seen in the kinds of the results these IT companies are giving nowadays, that the cost has reduced so much that they are declaring more and more profits. in quarter 3 also.
Certainly. So I think, Kriti, what's being talked about is that, on the work from home front, these work from home expenses need more clarity on claiming them as business expenses.
लेकिन मुद्दा टीना राजस्व का भी है, जो हम लगातार बात करते आए हैं, फिस्कल कंसोलिडेशन, फिस्कल हेडरूम, फिस्कल स्लिपेज या फिस्कल डिसिप्लिन का। पारिक जी, आप बात कर रहे थे नॉन टैक्स रेवेन्यू की, किस तरह से डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट आगे का रास्ता है। पीएससी पॉलिसी हम देख चुके हैं, किस तरह का क्लैरिफिकेशन आप एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर निर्मला सीतारमण से?
So what I would expect is that in the budget, the finance minister should lay down a clear roadmap in terms of the disinvestment program for the current year. There were some news items about divestment of stake in LIC, divestment of stake in Air India has been on the cards for a long time now. There has been some news about divestment of stake of some of the other important government companies. So I think it will be good if the government can lay down a clear roadmap in terms of which are the entities where they are looking at divestment and what kind of revenue augmentation measures are they considering as a result thereof.
All right, so we expect a clarity on PSE policy there, Tina?
Certainly. So let's now talk about corporate reliefs as well. Kriti, since we're talking about raising revenue, Sunil Garg, let me come back to you once again on the corporate relief that can be expected. Obviously, it's been reduced. The corporate tax rates have already been reduced to 22%. So on that front, more reductions are very, very unlikely in the upcoming budget. But to cover up for the sort of losses that these companies, that the sector has incurred during the lockdown due to the pandemic, what are the relief measures that you expect that the government could announce?
Tina, as I said, probably I don't think much space for reducing the corporate tax now. Already, now it's 22% for all the companies. Of course, it comes to 25.17%. It is not 22%. 10% is surcharge and cess of 4%. And for new companies, new manufacturing companies who starts operation after 1st October 19, the tax rates are 15%. But what I think and what the government should do, and this is my serious advice, there are so many provisions, they need certain revisit. For example, capital gain tax on the unlisted shares. Now, you are charging 20% on that. And a lot of companies, even unlisted, they are at par with the listed companies now. You have to give relief to those companies. Now, they are changing hands. More and more investments are coming to them. More and more HNIs are coming. Equity funders are coming to the startup also. Now, second provision is about the carry forward of losses. You do not allow the carry forward of losses for the small companies if the shareholding is less than 51%. You allow that for the startups, but not for the closely held companies. But I feel seriously, these two areas, two fronts, carry forward of losses and MAT, of course, you have now removed the MAT if you are in the new tax regime. But for the old tax regime, now again you are charging MAT, then closely held companies do not have the carry forward of losses and the capital gain tax. This is the area where government needs certain concern. Now they have to fix and they have to motivate these companies to do better. And today's report in the Economic Times is that now we have 38 unicorn startups, the startup unicorn in India and 40,000 total startup. These are small companies, unlisted companies. I think this budget may have certain provisions and beneficial provisions. Certain beneficial provision, I think, is coming into this budget. And it's my serious advice to the government.
So that's a hope for the startups and a good one, because the startups have done fairly well when it comes to the past year, despite being it a COVID pandemic hit year.
Well, absolutely, Tina. But since we're talking about specific sectors, let me talk about travel and tourism. Mr. Mittal, आपके पास आना चाहूँगी. जितनी मार ट्रैवल और टूरिज्म सेक्टर को पैंडेमिक की पड़ी, शायद ही कोई और सेक्टर ऐसा होगा. अगर इन दो सेक्टर्स की बात करूं तो किस तरह की रियायतें मिल सकती हैं?
देखिए, ट्रैवल एंड टूरिज्म की अगर हम बात करें तो दे आर द वर्स्ट हिट सेक्टर ड्यूरिंग दैट पैंडेमिक. ट्रैवल एंड टूरिज्म की एक इम्पॉर्टेंट डिमांड हम देख सकते हैं कि उनके लिए कहीं ना कहीं मैट की रिलैक्सेशन आनी चाहिए, विच इज़ वेरी मच रिक्वायर्ड, क्योंकि इस साल उन्हें बहुत ज़्यादा लॉसेज होने वाले हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा चैलेंजेस हैं बिजनेस में, और नेक्स्ट ईयर भी पिक करने में टाइम लग सकता है. तो वॉट एवर मैट इज़ देयर, अगर मैट की रिलैक्सेशन मिलेगी तो उसमें उनको बहुत बेनिफिट्स रहेंगे. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट आप देखेंगे, सुनील जी ने पहले भी मेंशन किया था, कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स रेट इज़ 22%. इवन देन जो पार्टनरशिप फर्म्स या इंडिविजुअल बिजनेस कर रहे हैं उनके ऊपर जो टैक्स रेट आ जाता है वो 30% का आ जाता है. तो देयर इज़ अ बिग मिसमैच ओवर देयर. उसकी एक रिलैक्सेशन गवर्नमेंट को देनी चाहिए, क्योंकि टूरिज्म सेक्टर में आप देखेंगे एक बड़ी कंपनीज हैं जो ऑलरेडी लोअर रेट दे रहे हैं, और बहुत सारी छोटी छोटी कंपनीज हैं जो फर्म के मोड में या फिर इंडिविजुअल फर्म के मोड में काम कर रही हैं। वहाँ पे एक पैरिटी आनी ज़रूरी है, सो दैट के दे आर द रियल बैकबोन ऑफ द इकोनॉमी। कॉर्पोरेट्स आर देयर, बट जो फर्म्स हैं, पार्टनरशिप फर्म्स हैं या इंडिविजुअल फर्म्स हैं, वो रियल बैकबोन है इंडस्ट्री का या फिर इकोनॉमी का। उनको एक पैरिटी पे लाना ज़रूरी है कि उनका टैक्स रेट कम किया जाए। इसके अलावा और कुछ बेनिफिट इस टाइप से भी दिए सकते हैं मैडम एफएम, जिसमें कि इन्वेस्टमेंट से रिलेटेड बेनिफिट दिए जा सकते हैं कि इफ़ अ पर्टिकुलर सेक्टर लाइक टूरिज्म और ट्रैवल एंड टूरिज्म इज डूइंग सम काइंड ऑफ अ इन्वेस्टमेंट, उन इन्वेस्टमेंट पे उनको बेनिफिट दिए जा सकते हैं, जिसमें कि कंसीडर किया जा सकता है कि अगर वो 25 करोड़ या फिर वॉट एवर लिमिट गवर्नमेंट विल डिसाइड, up to that limit they should be given a more tax benefits along with some tax exemptions, कि अगर आप इंडस्ट्री में हैं, पर्टिकुलर स्पेसिफिक इंडस्ट्री में है, वहाँ पर जो कि वर्स्ट रेट है, उसमें अगर आप कोई पर्टिकुलर इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हैं तो आपके प्रॉफिट्स 2 साल 3 साल तक एग्जेम्प्ट हो सकते हैं। तो इस टाइप के बेनिफिट्स गवर्नमेंट थॉट प्रोसेस ले सकती है, जिससे कि उस सेक्टर को स्पेसिफिक बूस्ट दिया जा सके, जिसमें कि आपका एविएशन सेक्टर भी है जिसको बहुत ज़्यादा हिट है अभी। वहाँ पर टैक्सेस के ऊपर वर्क किया जा सकता है, इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस के ऊपर वर्क किया जा सकता है जहाँ पे कम किए जा सकते हैं। टूरिज्म सेक्टर की अगर हम स्पेसिफिक बात करें तो अभी एक नया प्रोविज़न लास्ट बजट में इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ था कि जो भी फॉरेन पेमेंट्स होंगी या फॉरेन ट्रैवल होगा उसके ऊपर एक TCS लगाया था गवर्नमेंट ने, तो उसको भी डेफर किया जा सकता है सो डैट के टूरिज्म सेक्टर को बढ़ावा मिल सके। अभी बहुत ज़्यादा स्पेसिफिक क्या बहुत ज़्यादा चैलेंजेस है, लोग डर रहे हैं कोरोना की वजह से। दैट इज गुड कि इंडिया में कोरोना की वैक्सीन आ गई है और इंडिया तो एक्सपोर्ट भी कर रहा है और बहुत अपर लेवल पे इसका एग्जीक्यूशन स्टार्ट हो गया है, बट स्टिल पीपल आर थिंकिंग के वेदर दे विल प्लान एनी हॉलीडेज और नॉट, दे विल ट्रैवल अप टू दैट लेवल और नॉट। तो उसके लिए ज़रूरी है कि जो लास्ट बजट में इन्होंने TCS लगाया था उसको भी अभी ये रिलैक्सेशन कर सकते हैं फॉर 1 or 2 ईयर एटलीस्ट। तो इस टाइप की चीज़ें ज़रूरी है जो मुझे लगता है आनी ज़रूर चाहिए स्पेसिफिकली ट्रैवल एंड टूरिज्म के लिए।
Absolutely. Mr. Parekh, so since we're talking about the stressed sectors, in particular the aviation and the tourism sector, which have been the most affected during the pandemic, so in order to provide relief to these particular sectors that have been hit the most, do you think the government can consider extending the 8-year loss carrying forward window? Is that an option before the government this time?
It is very much an option and which the government should exercise, in my view. A couple of other things that it can do to give a boost to the tourism and hospitality sector. One is contemplate giving a 100% tax holiday on export earnings for the tour sector, for the hospitality sector. Secondly, you can come up with an innovative idea whereby you may give an income tax deduction to taxpayers wherever they spend any amount on any tours and travels or for stay in hotel. That will have 2 advantages. Number 1, that will give a boost to the tour operators, travel agents and hotels and hospitality sector. And number 2, that will give a relief to taxpayers in terms of their income tax liability. But while we are on tourism and hospitality, I just wanted to touch upon some aspects pertaining to corporates. You alluded to corporates a few minutes back, and I just wanted to add a few points around. You know, the government did a wonderful job about 1.5 years back when they reduced the corporate tax rate from 30% to 22%. And to 15% for newly set up manufacturing companies. Now, the ask of corporates has been that while this has been a wonderful step taken by the government in the past, it would really augur well if that benefit can be extended not just to newly set up manufacturing companies, but even existing companies which set up new manufacturing facilities, number 1. Number 2, that benefit of 15% is available to certain categories of infrastructure sector like power. But that benefit is not available to other infrastructure facilities. So that benefit of 15% ought to be extended even to other infrastructure facilities. That is the second ask of corporates. The other ask of corporates has been, we had this one wonderful provision in the income tax law, which used to give a weighted deduction of up to 200% of R&D spend in the past. Now, over a period of time, that has been phased out. And as of now, only 100% of the expenditure is allowed as a spend. The weighted deduction is done away with. So that's an area with a view to give boost to R&D in India. And owing to the pandemic, there is a lot of need to do R&D, especially in the healthcare sector. I think it will be really good if the government can, extend this weighted deduction benefit for R&D to corporates.
Absolutely.
One
And
other
in
thing
fact,
that the government
Kriti,
can
the economic
contemplate-
survey also indicated that a thrust is required in the innovation sector. There needs to be more contribution from the private sector, but the government definitely needs to incentivize it in the coming year.
लेकिन टीना, हम इंसेंटिव की बात कर रहे हैं, डिडक्शन की बात कर रहे हैं, रिडक्शन की बात कर रहे हैं, लेकिन एक और बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा होता है टैक्स कंप्लायंस का। तरुण जी, आपसे समझना चाहूंगी, पिछली बार हमने देखा था कि किस तरह से फेसलेस असेसमेंट की बात कही थी सरकार ने। इस बार ईज ऑफ कंप्लायंस को बढ़ाने के लिए और क्या कदम उठाए जा सकते हैं बजट में?
Faceless assessment is certainly succeeding, although there are many issues with reference to faceless assessment. For example, today the SSC is completely disconnected from the authorities, but we have all the reports that the assessing officers, those who are in e-assessment at the national level, they have got all the details of the PAN, SSC's contact details, etc. And there are all the reports that they are being contacted before the orders are being passed. So we believe that we have made many suggestions in the context of faceless assessment. I had discussion with the top DGIT people also in the income tax department that it should be completely faceless from both the sides. And on the incentive side, I would believe that there is greater scope this year for the weighted deduction in the context of new employment generation. Because one of the pertinent issues in the mind of the government is that let deficit financing increasing, but the first target is to create the jobs. Now, if the weighted deduction is allowed for the new employment generation, meaning that what is your employment as on today and what is the incremental employment, if they are thereon, it is most likely that weighted deduction will come. Secondly, infra push is easier said and done because government does not have that much financial flexibility. So I personally believe that government will encourage public-private partnership in which private operators will be encouraged to participate in the infrastructure building up. Now, private operators will find generally disincentive because there is not much return in this. So government will find out some schemes. For example, the latest example is how the CST is being redeveloped in Mumbai. So that the above floors, the construction will lead to commercial construction also, and that benefit will go to the developer. So we believe that there will be more and more innovative and out-of-box thinking in which government will try to push the private sectors, and that is the speech of Satyakanta Das also, that private sectors must take interest in the infra push. We also believe that there will be a lot of amendment on the side of informal sector because the organized sector has achieved far better because there is a strong shift from unorganized sector to the organized sector in terms of supply and demand because they are able to create the supply chains.
All
so
right,
there is
all
very
right,
much
sir.
on the very much a possibility that
All right, sir. Mr. Parekh, you wanted to make a point on ease of compliance. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I wanted to make a couple of points out there. One of the things which has been creating a nightmare for taxpayers, especially for corporates and MSMEs, is this entire rigmarole of suffering TDS on their revenues. And TDS results in a significant amount of cash blockage for taxpayers. Number one. Number two, whenever there is TDS, the taxpayer has an obligation to demonstrate that the corresponding income has been offered to tax in the respective year when the tax has been deducted. Now, many a times there can be a mismatch between the year in which the tax gets deducted versus the year in which the income gets offered to tax. Now, take a case of a corporate which raises thousands of invoices daily. For them to do a reconciliation between the TDS and the income becomes a nightmare. And even from a cash blockage perspective, significant amount of cash gets blocked with the government treasury. And thereafter, the government needs to release huge amount of refunds every year. As you know, this year, the government is close to releasing refund of 2 lakh crore rupees. Instead of TDS, we have a provision in the income tax law which allows taxpayers to ascertain their tax liability and discharge them by way of 4 quarterly advance tax installments. So it should be mandated in law that a taxpayer should be given an option either to discharge its tax liability by way of advance tax or suffer TDS and not both. I think that will give a big relief to taxpayers from a compliance standpoint.
Okay.
One other topic that I wanted to talk about, and while there has been a lot of rationalization which has happened in the past, and full credit to the government for introducing the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme to tackle past litigation.
Yes.
The need of the hour now is to come up with a new dispute resolution scheme which will take care of litigation going forward. So just to give you some statistics, as things stand today, we have more than 5 lakh appeals which are pending in litigation across different appellate forums. There is close to 9.5 lakh crore rupees which is locked up in litigation today.
Yes.
The annual tax collection in the last year was about 10.5 lakh crore rupees. As compared to that, the amount locked up in litigation itself is 9.5 lakh crore rupees. So the need of the hour is to do something to do away with this pervasive litigation which we see in India on a year-on-year basis and come up with some kind of a new dispute resolution scheme. What is being much talked about is what we call as a mediation scheme, which will allow the taxpayer and the tax department to sit across the table and resolve dispute right at the inception so that we don't have litigation going forward. These are the two other expectations from a compliance and litigation standpoint.
तो डिस्प्यूट रेजोल्यूशन स्कीम किस तरह की होगी, जैसा हमने पिछली बार देखा था, क्या होगा, किस तरह के कंट्रोल्स होंगे, उस पर सबकी नजर होगी। टीना?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। और क्योंकि पारिक जी ने विवाद से विश्वास स्कीम की बात कही, तो यहाँ पर सुनील गर्ग आपके पास एक सवाल लेकर आती हूँ कि आपको याद होगा 2020 का ये वन ऑफ द हाइलाइट्स था विवाद से विश्वास स्कीम। पैंडेमिक के बाद उस तरह का पार्टिसिपेशन देखने को नहीं मिला। क्या लग रहा है, गवर्नमेंट क्या कंसिडर करेगी कि इस स्कीम को एक्सटेंड करे या फिर किसी नए स्कीम की जरूरत महसूस हो रही है?
देखिए टीना जी, अभी जो मेरे को पैनलिस्ट ने सवाल उठाया है, बहुत अच्छी बात होगी अगर सरकार विवाद से विश्वास स्कीम को थोड़ा मॉडिफाइड फॉर्म में लाए। देखिए हुआ क्या है कि विवाद से विश्वास स्कीम विवाद से विवाद की तरफ ही बढ़ती जा रही है। अभी पीछे क्या हुआ है कि कुछ नोटिस जो सरकार ने दिए हैं वहाँ पर 25% एक्स्ट्रा फिर चार्ज करना शुरू कर दिया है, और जो उम्मीद की थी सरकार ने, जो 2 लाख करोड़ टैक्स कलेक्शन की विवाद से विश्वास में, वो कहीं सरकार नज़र आ नहीं रही है वो पूरा आते हुए। दूसरा, जैसे मेरे को पेंशन ने बताया कि 5 लाख अपील पेंडिंग है और कोई 9.5 लाख 10 लाख करोड़ का टैक्स उसमें है। और जिस हिसाब से मैं रेवेन्यू लॉस होगा इस बार, क्योंकि जो हमने टैक्स की कलेक्शन उम्मीद की थी को 13 लाख करोड़, और हमें लगता है कि 9-9.5 लाख तक हम पहुंच पाएंगे। तो अगर हम एक परमानेंट एक स्कीम ले आए, रेजोल्यूशंस की, मीडिएशन की, एक डिस्प्यूट रेजोल्यूशन मैकेनिज्म हम ले आते हैं, और जिसकी पूरी उम्मीद मुझे नज़र आती है कि इस बजट में सरकार शायद सोच रही है ऐसा लाने की, क्योंकि अभी विवाद से विश्वास में बड़े कैविएट्स लगे हुए थे। 31 जनवरी को आपकी पेंडिंग अपील होनी चाहिए, आपकी डिमांड्स होनी चाहिए, उसके और आपने वो आपका डिस्प्यूट होना चाहिए। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि जो पुराने केस हैं या उसके बाद जो केसेस आए हैं, और विशेषकर डीमोनेटाइजेशन के बाद में जो केस आए हैं जहाँ टैक्स रेट वाज एज हाई है 78%, मतलब 78% की आपने डिमांड निकाल दी है, उन केसेस के लिए भी आप एक स्कीम लेके आइए। और आपका प्रयास होना चाहिए कि इस साल का जो टैक्स रेवेन्यू का कलेक्शन हमारा कम हो रहा है, उसको हम बजाय बोरोइंग के, क्योंकि अदरवाइज सरकार को पैसा खर्च करने के लिए पैसा तो चाहिए ना, आप FRBM एक्ट को भी कहाँ तक आप एक्सटेंड करेंगे, आप कितना बोरोइंग करेंगे? ऑलरेडी बोरोइंग्स आर मोर देन 10 लाख करोड़। इसका मतलब होगा कि अगर आप उस टैक्स की कलेक्शन को डिस्प्यूटेड है, जो फंसा हुआ है, अगर हम ऐसा कोई मैकेनिज्म डेवलप कर लें जो दोनों की तरफ से, मतलब सरकार के लिए भी और टैक्स पेयर को लगे कि हाँ एक रिलीफ मुझको मिल रहा है और मैं पैसा देकर एक विवाद से छुटकारा पा सकता हूँ, और एक कुछ जनरल एक स्कीम लेकर आए, बिल्कुल, चाहे वो 31 जनवरी के बाद के केसेज हैं या जो पुराने केसेज हैं जहाँ पर और बहुत सारे डिस्प्यूट, जहाँ क्योंकि बहुत सारे अभी भी जो विवाद से विश्वास में बहुत सारी चीज़ें छोड़ दी सरकार ने, बहुत सारे केसेस कवर नहीं हो पा रहे हैं। तो ये एक अच्छा स्टेप होगा अगर हम डिस्प्यूट्स को ख़त्म कर दें। और जैसे फेसलेस असेसमेंट के बारे में भी कहा गया, ऑफ कोर्स वेरी गुड आइडिया, बहुत अच्छा है, लेकिन देखिए हम फेसलेस की एक अच्छी बात है तो एक बुरी बात भी है। वहाँ पर एसएससी को अपनी बात कहने का कोई फॉर्म भी नहीं है, और कई बार हमने देखा है कि ऐसी असेसमेंट्स होके आ रही हैं या ऐसे ऑर्डर्स आ रहे हैं जो कि बड़े वही पुराने रिजीम की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं। मतलब हमने करप्शन को रोकने के लिए, देखिए फेसलेस और ई असेसमेंट दोनों एक सिक्के के दो पहलू हैं। हमने डायरेक्ट टैक्स कोड की जब हमने बात की थी, जो स्कीम्स उन्होंने दी थी, हमने उसको उठा लिया, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि उस पर एक और सुधार की ज़रूरत है कि आपको किसी ना किसी फॉर्म पर एक अपॉर्चुनिटी ऑफ बीइंग हर्ड होनी चाहिए, आप जहाँ पर अपने आप को प्रेजेंट कर सकें, ताकि जो हाई पिच असेसमेंट के ऑर्डर्स आते हैं या जो पहले भी जिसके लिए हम बहुत परेशान रहते थे वो दोबारा ना हो। तो ये दो बातों पर सरकार को ध्यान देने की बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है। एक ऐसी एमनेस्टी स्कीम ना कहूँ मैं, बल्कि एक मीडिएशन स्कीम कहूँगा उसको, एमनेस्टी शायद सरकार ना दे, लेकिन एक ये, और दूसरा कहीं ना कहीं वो जो खतरा हाई पिच असेसमेंट का होता है या जो एनोरस डिमांड्स का होता है, वो भी कहीं ना कहीं एक बार इसको वंस फॉर ऑल सेटल करना चाहिए मेरे से।
Okay. Mr. Tarun, you wanted to make a point? Go ahead.
With reference to TDS, one of the most tedious, time-consuming and wasteful time-consuming exercise is TDS. We have already talked time and again and represented to government, and I believe that our suggestion has been accepted, and we are very hopeful what we have suggested is that give a passbook. In 1 year, my TDS is deducted. Afterwards, in any of the subsequent years, if I demand the credit, I should be eligible for the same. If I demand it later on, then government is going to be beneficiary and I am not going to be gain anything because I am not demanding any interest thereon. So once the tax is paid by me in the form of TDS, government has in principle, according to me, agreed that they will bring out a passbook system. So all the credit goes to me and I can utilize the credit in any of the subsequent years as I want. And obviously I'll be using it in the earliest year because there is a tax paid by me. If I don't adjust, then I have to pay fresh tax. So that will solve all the issues with regard to this mismatching of this thing. So much details to be filed. The 26 years today gives complete detail of how much tax has been deducted in my case. And that's a credit to me. Thereafter, utilization thereof will be left to the SSC, and that kind of amendment will be beneficial to all of us. And as far as this faceless assessment scheme is concerned, in the advanced talks with the government, I had a categorical suggestion that hearing must be given on conference call basis. In the conference call basis, identity of the SSC must be established. So his face will be seen, but the identity of the authority must not be established. For the reason that if he can see the face, then tomorrow somebody will go to him and say that, look, you had seen this photograph, now I can arrange your meeting with this photograph. So identity of the authority is otherwise not necessary. So that will be blurred identity, and I believe that the government is working on that system in which the comprehensive hearing can happen on the conference call basis.
All right, so those are important points that you're making, sir. But Tina, beyond compliance and assessment, I want to talk about a very specific sector, which is digital infrastructure. Now, a few insights for our viewers. India is one of the biggest and fastest growing digital markets in the world. The number of internet subscribers in India currently stands at around 740 million, and an estimated 60% of the population is expected to use internet by the year 2022. And by 2025, India's digital economy could contribute 18 to 23% to overall economic activity. Mr. Parekh, given the strategic importance of technology sector, what are the expectations as far as taxation is concerned?
As far as the technology sector is concerned, the government had done a wonderful thing in the past in terms of the SEZ scheme that it had announced. And where has the SEZ scheme taken India on the global map, right? As far as the IT and ITES sector is concerned, I mean, there's been a significant amount of export revenues they've earned for the country over the last several years. Today, the export revenues from SEZs is pegged at close to $150 billion. That's the magnitude of revenues that we earn for the country. Now, there's been a sunset clause which has been introduced for SEZs, whereby wherever any unit is set up in an SEZ on or after 30th September 2020, they'll not get the SEZ benefit. But owing to the pandemic, my suggestion or recommendation to the government would be that if we can consider allowing the SEZ benefit, especially to the IT/ITES sector, even when the units are set up after 30th September 2020, I think that will give a significant boost to our IT sector, and that will augur really well for the industry. And what could also help is by allowing SEZ benefits for new employment generation other than IT sector, that will also give a big relief to taxpayers. So that's something the government may wish to consider.
जी बिल्कुल, कपिल जी आपसे जानना चाहूंगी, जैसा कि आपने बात कही सनसेट क्लॉज जो SEZ है उसके एक्सटेंशन की बात है, आपको क्या लगता है कितना ज़रूरी है ये आत्मनिर्भर भारत के लिए?
कि सनसेट क्लॉज को एक्सटेंड करना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है। पेंडेमिक की वजह से हम सब देख रहे हैं कि प्रॉफिट श्रिंक हो गए हैं, एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो गया है, लोगों के हाथ में पैसा देना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो गया है। तो सनसेट क्लॉज को तो आगे करना बहुत ज़रूरी है सो दैट के IT सेक्टर जैसी कंपनीज उससे बेनिफिट ले सके। इसके अलावा भी बहुत जगह क्लैरिटी रिक्वायर्ड है। फॉर एग्जांपल अभी पेंडेमिक की वजह से देयर आर मैनी एम्प्लॉयज़, मैनी कंपनीज हु आर वर्किंग फ्रॉम होम, सो इट इज़ डिफ़िकल्ट टू एस्टेरटेन कि अगर एक कंपनी SEZ में रजिस्टर्ड है बट उसके सभी एम्प्लॉयज़ अभी वर्क फ्रॉम होम कर रहे हैं, सो वेदर दैट विल बी क्वालिफाई एज अ SEZ सेक्टर कंपनी और नॉट। तो वहाँ पे क्लैरिटी बहुत रिक्वायर्ड है क्योंकि पेंडेमिक ने बहुत सारी चीज़ों को चेंज कर दिया है। अर्लियर द वे ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस, वे ऑफ लिविंग अ लाइफ वाज डिफरेंट, नाउ इट इज़ टोटली चेंज। तो उसको देखते हुए हमें समझना चाहिए कि गवर्नमेंट को भी क्लैरिफिकेशंस बहुत सारे लाने पड़ेंगे टू अलाइन एवरीथिंग के अगर वो ये बेनिफिट देना चाहते हैं SEZ के और उनके एम्प्लॉयज़, एक कंपनी जो SEZ में रजिस्टर्ड है बट उनके सभी एम्प्लॉयज़ वर्क फ्रॉम होम कर रहे हैं, तो वहाँ पे बेनिफिट्स मिल पाएँ। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट सनसेट क्लॉज तो इंक्रीज करना ज़रूरी है ही है। इसके अलावा मैं देख रहा हूँ कि अभी इन्होंने जितने भी इंसेंटिव्स वगैरह मिलते थे उन इंसेंटिव स्कीम्स को बंद करके नई इंसेंटिव स्कीम्स लॉन्च करने जा रहे हैं। वहाँ पे इन्होंने बोला है कि एसईजेड्स को बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेंगे। अभी उसका ड्राफ्ट आना बाकी है। वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग कि शायद बजट में वो उसे अनाउंस करेंगे। तो वहाँ पे भी गवर्नमेंट को सोचना चाहिए कि एसईजेड को वो बेनिफिट दिए जाएं, सो दैट कि जो एसईजेड का पर्पज़ है वो डिफीट ना हो जाए और वो सारी चीज़ें बेनिफिट एसईजेड्स को मिल पाए, इंडस्ट्री वगैरह गेन कर पाए उससे।
Absolutely. Another sector, Kriti, that I think requires attention from the finance minister's budget this time could be the real estate sector.
Absolutely.
It has seen a substantial fall during the pandemic. So, in that aspect, Mr. Himanshu Parekh, the concern is that the stamp duty value, the circle rates of the properties have remained the same, and that, of course, requires some attention from the finance minister. So, what can be expected as far as the real estate sector is concerned?
Absolutely. So quite a few expectations of the real estate sector from this budget. First and foremost, as far as taxpayers are concerned, they get this deduction by way of interest on housing loan, but that deduction is restricted only up to 2 lakh rupees. So it will do really well if this limit can either altogether be abolished or if the limit can be enhanced to a certain level. Secondly, for the real estate developers, we have this provision in the income tax law which says that where a developer constructs an apartment, let's say, and if that apartment is vacant for more than 1 year, and after a year it is deemed to be a let out property, and a notional rent is thereafter calculated on which the developer needs to pay tax. Now, owing to the pandemic, there are so many unsold flats and apartments that we have throughout the country. So that limit of 1 year should be enhanced at least to 2 years. The one other expectation is in the context of the GST benefit available for affordable housing. Now, the way affordable housing is defined is to say that any house which measures less than 60 square meters in a metro area or less than 90 square meters in a non-metro area, and if the price of that house is less than 45 lakh rupees, then there is a lower GST of 1% which is applicable. Now, to get a house for something less than 45 lakhs is something impossible, especially in metro areas, and there's a need therefore to significantly enhance that limit, at least to make it something like 75 lakhs to 1 crore. And the last thing which I mentioned earlier was you have this 15% corporate tax rate for power sector, but not to the real estate sector, not for the infrastructure sector. That benefit of 15% corporate tax rate ought to be extended even to real estate and infrastructure sector.
Quite a lot of attention required on these stress sectors, Kriti, as our panelists are pointing out.
लेकिन टीना, हम बात कर रहे हैं अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग की। तरुण जी, कहा जाता है कि अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग या हाउसिंग जो सेक्टर है उसके ग्रोथ का असर मल्टीप्लायर इफेक्ट में देखा जाता है। अगर मैं फर्स्ट टाइम होम बायर्स की बात करूं, उनको किस तरह की रियायतें मिल सकती हैं, खासकर लोन पर?
It is very much expected this time that the housing loan benefits will be extended. What is presently in law is that the interest on housing loan, when it is on rented property, supposing rent income is 10 lakhs and my interest payment is 8 lakhs, then entire is allowed. Now, in many cases, the interest expenditure may be, for example, in this example, 15 lakhs.
Yes.
Then the set-off is restricted to only 2 lakhs loss, because in that case, my income is 10 lakhs, my expenditure is 15 lakhs, and 5 lakhs will not be allowed. It will be restricted to 2 lakhs. So we believe, and we have represented that this limit should be removed because it is the actual loss being incurred by me in respect of the interest on housing loan. Secondly, affordable housing, practically entire Mumbai-like metros have been kept out of the affordable benefits under Section 80 IBA of the Income Tax Act. And we have represented strongly, government has heard properly on this aspect, the builders lobby also. And what is the important issue is there, that the restriction is that you must construct 30 square meters and that should be limited to the stamp value of rupees 45 lakhs. Now 30 square meters in the city of Mumbai would mean that 330 square feet would cost we will not cost less than 45 lakhs. In the area of Borivali also, the prices are 15 lakhs plus. So what we have represented that if you want to bring the Bombay like cities into the affordable housing category, then you must remove this limit of 45 lakhs. You must limit of 30 square meters, but remove this limit of 45 lakhs. And we are very much hopeful that this limit probably may be done away in the way that government wants this year more and more housing construction to go on.
All right.
In fact, there is also a suggestion, 1 minute, that government would
तो टीना, काफी उम्मीदें हैं अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग को लेकर, रियल एस्टेट सेक्टर को लेकर।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, और कई सारे ऐसे सेक्टर्स हैं, उम्मीदें तो बहुत ज्यादा हैं, बट नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज, द चैलेंज बिफोर द फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर इज गोइंग टू बी ऑफ कोर्स टू हाउ टू बैलेंस बिटवीन दीज पब्लिक एक्सपेक्टेशंस एंड आल्सो टेकिंग इनटू अकाउंट द लिमिटेशंस ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट एज वेल. सो नाउ लेट्स start taking concluding remarks from our panelist Kriti, since we're running out of time. Let me begin with you, Mr. Sunil Garg. What is the best way forward for the finance minister to rightly balance between public expectations, the government limitations, and taking into account the revival of the economy?
Tina, as I said, now the government, FM, certainly on a very tight rope. She has to maintain the balance, revenue balance, as well as the growth also. And what I think, we have to choose one thing. There are two systems: tax regime without any deduction, exemptions, as he said, or tax regime with all the deduction exemption. But I feel that government has to make a final call on it. Tax regime with incentive, because we have to give certain incentives for the promotion, either it is tourism or real estate. Everybody in today's discussion, we have felt that certain deductions or incentives are required. So we have to make a clear balance. FM has to make a balance that there has to be a tax regime with incentives, and that has to go.
Absolutely,
and this is the, I think, maybe the motive, and maybe the right way of the government to approach. As far as real estate sector is concerned, you might be knowing FM has announced 20% safe harbor rule in the month of November, but still they are thinking how to implement it, and no notification yet. And of course, this sector, tourism, real estate, they are the highest growth potential, highest employment generation, employment potential
Absolutely,
sectors,
sir.
and government has to take a call on that.
So those are sector-specific demands, but since we're looking at the closing comments, Mr. Parakh, balancing lives and livelihoods and also providing tax incentives. Way ahead for Finance Minister, sir.
To my mind, the government should focus a lot more in this budget in terms of giving a boost to consumption and incur significant spend on public health care, and with a view to ensure that they're able to collect additional revenues. To do so, I wouldn't at all be averse to the government levying a one-time COVID cess, which will help the government augment revenues to take care of all these expectations of taxpayers.
Mr. Tarun, one closing comment from you on what is the best option available before the finance minister at the moment.
I strongly believe that government will go for more and more divestment, including the public sector banks, and public-private partnerships will be encouraged to meet the deficit. And deficit, government has already announced that deficit will be reduced over a period of years rather than in 1 year, going by the government's coveted stand that this time job creation is more important, manufacturing push is more important.
Okay. And Mr. Mittal, close the show for us.
कि काफ़ी तक हमने जैसे डिस्कशन किया, अभी रिक्वायरमेंट है कि इंडिविजुअल के हाथ में कैश जनरेट करने की, सो दैट कि उनके पास ज़्यादा इनकम आए. गवर्नमेंट को, एफएम मिनिस्टर को कोशिश करनी चाहिए कि वो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटी जनरेट कर पाएँ, जिससे इन्वेस्टमेंट को बूस्ट मिले, प्लस लोगों के हाथ में पैसा आए. वहीं साथ साथ उन्हें ये भी कंट्रोल करना ज़रूरी है कि इन्फ्लेशन बहुत ज़्यादा ऊपर ना जाए. अभी उनको इन्फ्लेशन पे फोकस नहीं करना चाहिए, ऐसा मेरा मानना है, क्योंकि इन्फ्लेशन पे फोकस करने से क्या होगा, वो टैक्सेस बढ़ाते चले जाएंगे. अभी कलेक्शन से ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है कि वो लोगों के हाथ में अपॉर्चुनिटी जनरेट करें, इनकम जनरेट करें, जिससे कि लोग ज़्यादा खर्च कर पाएँ और अकॉर्डिंगली जो अर्थव्यवस्था रुक सी गई थी वो एकदम से चल पाए. तो मेरे विचार में उन्हें अभी फोकस करना चाहिए कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इनकम लोगों के हाथ में जनरेट की जाए, इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटी और अच्छी जॉब्स क्रिएट की जाए.
All right. So the focus, Kriti, has to be on giving more money in the hands of people, increase spending. But that's the challenging bit, because looking at the revenue, that's a huge, huge challenge that the finance minister has in hand. And looking also at the attention that the stress sectors required, what the finance minister does is something that we'll have to all wait and watch on the 1st of February. Thank you to all our panelists for joining us and sharing your thoughts on the taxation bit as far as the budget is concerned. Thank you. Pleasure having you on the program. So that's it from us in this special broadcast. It's a wrap up from me and Kriti. See you again next time.
Watch COVID-19 India Fights Back at 7:30 p.m. only on Rajya Sabha Television.